Hello and welcome, I'm your Code Monkey. So here's a hypothetical scenario. What if you got a phone call from Geoff Keighley, and what if he said, hey, I want your game to be shown on the Game Awards? That would be pretty awesome, right? The last edition got over 10 million views in just 2 days, and these are only views on YouTube. So plus on the other sources like Twitch and all the various watch-alongs, chances are it's over 20 million views. So that means definitely quite a lot of eyeballs looking potentially at your own game. So if you got the chance, it sounds like you definitely should take it. A while ago there was a leak on how much it costs to advertise on Summer Game Fest, so the other Geoff Keighley show. On this one, the costs start at about $250,000 for just 1 minute of footage, and then basically went up from there. Now that sounds like quite a lot of money, and for indie devs like you or me, yep, that is a lot of money. But for a AAA or AAA indie dev, that is a very reasonable amount. And the scenario that I mentioned of Geoff Keighley giving you a slot, that could happen. People have mentioned how some of those slots are provided for free, especially for smaller indie studios. So if that happened and you got on the show, how many wishlists might you be able to get? I did a bunch of research. I looked at a ton of games that were announced and shown at the Game Awards in order to see all the results of how many wishlists they all got. Now, just in case you don't know, Steam wishlists are not exactly public. However, Steam followers are. So you can go on somewhere like SteamDB, then go down into the charts, and over here you can see exactly how many followers a certain game has. And in general, wishlists are about 10 to 15 times the number of followers. Meaning that if a game has about 1,000 followers, chances are it has about 10,000 wishlists. I can confirm that for my own games, yep, that number is pretty accurate. So using these graphs, you can see exactly what kind of bumps the games got by being on the show. A lot of the games were announced for the first time, while others were already gathering wishlists for a while, but still we can see a nice bump when they showed up on the Game Awards. Now the big winners are obviously more the AAA games, but indie devs, or rather AAA indie devs, they also got quite a lot of wishlists. The big one of all, and I mean by far the biggest winner, is obviously Elden Ring Night Rain. This is the new standalone adventure in the Elden Ring universe. It's a roguelike, souls-like action game. It looks like a potentially very interesting spin-off. It was just announced at the Game Awards, and as soon as it was announced, it very quickly got a ton of wishlists. So in just 2 days, it got about 400,000 wishlists. That's a truly insane amount. I mean, most indie devs struggle to get to about 7,000 wishlists. So here we have a game that got over 50 times that amount by just being announced and just being shown on the Game Awards. That's a truly insane result, and it's even insane when compared to just the second game, the massive gap between the first and the second game. The second game is Kiora, which actually got around 90,000 wishlists. That is still obviously a massive, huge amount, but it definitely pales in comparison with 400,000, so that just tells you how insane Elden Ring is. This one over here, the game looks really awesome. It looks like pretty much a modern Terraria. It's a mystical multiplayer sandbox adventure where every pixel is yours to shape, mine, build, or explore. I have to say, it's really awesome to see an indie dev find so much insane success. I mean, this one is a serious AAA indie game, so it's something with a budget in the low millions. This is not a solo dev in their bedroom, but still, it is an indie dev. So it is great to see the second place that got quite an insane result still, 90,000 wishlists. It's quite awesome to see that happening with an indie game as opposed to just another AAA game. After that, we have another AAA indie game with a similar result. So here we've got Black Frost, The Long Dark 2, and this one also managed to get around 90,000 wishlists. So this one, like the name implies, is basically a sequel to The Long Dark that was already a very successful indie game. It's a survival action simulation game. It's got single player and online co-op, so you can play with your friends and try to survive in this game. Looking at the trailer, it does look really awesome. Considering how the first game is one of the most successful indie games of all time, then definitely makes sense that this one's already finding quite a lot of success. Chances are there's a lot of the audience from that first game, which I think was released quite many years ago. So a lot of the audience from that game is possibly waiting for the next game, which is why this one got another insane result, about 90,000 wishlists. The next big winner was Split Fiction. This is from Hazelight Studios, so the same developer that made A Way Out and It Takes Two. Those were really awesome co-op adventure games, and this one is very much in the same style. You play as two characters who are two writers writing in both sci-fi and fantasy, and then you jump into a bunch of separate worlds, all of them visually unique, and again play together as two in order to go through these worlds and somehow finish the game. This is another one that was just announced, and right away it got about 70,000 wishlists. So another really awesome result. This one, chances are, a lot of that audience is people who play their previous games. It's quite interesting how this studio, they have focused on one specific genre, adventure co-op games. They focus specifically on that one genre, and it seems that there's an audience that really likes that one. Getting 70,000 wishlists does tell you that there is quite a lot of demand for this game. And then we saw Rematch. It's actually a very interesting one. This is from the same developers that made Sifu. This one was announced and right away got about 35,000 wishlists. This is definitely a very, very interesting one. They went from martial arts to football. That is definitely a very interesting choice. I'm not sure if there's much overlap between martial arts and football, but getting 35,000 wishlists, that does mean that quite a lot of people do like this game. Right away, you can definitely see how it has the same visual style, the same animation style as Sifu, and that game was extremely well received. So I'm guessing people who really like that game will probably give this a try, even though it is such a different genre, such a different theme. Personally, I'm definitely curious to see how are they going to apply whatever they learn in a martial arts game and apply it to some kind of football game. That should definitely be a very interesting experience. Then another very interesting theme during the Game Awards was how a lot of franchises came back from the dead. One of those was Turok, so here we have Turok Origins. It was announced and right away got about 51,000 wishlists. This definitely looks quite interesting. If you're not familiar with the Turok series, basically you've got guns and you've got dinosaurs. So the whole thing is very silly, very fun. I'm pretty sure I remember playing a demo, I think it was Turok 1 or 2. I remember playing that for quite a while. It was always fun to have guns and shoot dinosaurs. So yeah, this was certainly unexpected, so definitely fun to see this coming back. And right away, it seems that people do like it, so 51,000 wishlists, that is quite a large amount. Another one that also came back from dead is Onimusha. So this one was announced and got 37,000 wishlists. Personally, I never played any Onimusha games. I think they were only console and I didn't really have any consoles. But somehow I did have one of the CGI trailers that they had. That was a really awesome video, especially back then. That was just fascinating, both in terms of tech and just how cool it was. So I do remember how I watched that video non-stop over and over again. And with this number of wishlists, yep, this is definitely a series that a lot of people have been waiting to come back. Thick as Thieves is the next game from Warren Spector. This looks like another very interesting game. It's an immersive sim. You've got online co-op, online PvP. You've got characters, and apparently they're all thieves, they're all trying to steal the same thing. So the whole thing in terms of concept looks quite interesting. This one was announced and very quickly got up to 28,000 wishlists. I'm quite curious to see how this one will do. There have been a few of games similar to this. Basically got a co-op online thief simulator kind of game. This genre seems to be a little bit tricky to do, but considering the pedigree being by the studio from Warren Spector and considering how it already got 28,000 wishlists, hopefully this one will be good and seems to be coming off to a great start. Then one that didn't necessarily blow up as much as I would expect is Stage Fright. I mean, it still did great, so it got about 23,000 wishlists. That's a really nice amount. This one is from the makers of Overcooked, so that is basically why I expect a little bit more. Overcooked is one of the best games of all time, one of the best co-op games. So the next thing that the devs are working on, this one is bound to also be awesome. Overcooked is still a massive game nowadays, so I'm guessing over the next couple of months they won't be promoting this game alongside Overcooked. So by the time of launch, it might have a very nice amount of wishlists. Then the one that I saw that got the least amount of wishlists was One Move Away. This is a cozy first-person puzzle game where you pack your belongings for another move and embark on a new chapter in life. Although when I say the least amount, it still managed to get about 9,000 wishlists, so that is still a very, very nice amount, especially for a game with a more cozy vibe. I'm guessing that is not exactly the vibe for the audience that watches the Game Awards, and considering how this one was also only shown during the pre-show, despite that, it still managed to get 9,000 wishlists. So yeah, still a massive result, still really great. Definitely proves how even at the lowest tier, it is still worth quite a lot to be on the Game Awards. Then for games that already had Steam pages available and they got a new wishlist bump, for those, for example, here we have Borderlands 4. So this one, we can see that it got a bump from about 52,000 to 56,000, so let's say about 40,000 wishlists, so really nice amount. That makes it a total of about 560,000. Definitely a big, very anticipated AAA game. We also saw another look at Mafia: The Old Country. Personally, I'm really interested in this one. I've loved pretty much every single Mafia game, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one. And we can see over here that it got a bump from about 32,000 to 36,000. It's also about 40,000 wishlists. So in total, it has got about 360,000. Quite a nice amount. I really hope this game comes out very well. Next up, we've got Den of Wolves. This one, interestingly, this is actually a game that Unity themselves have been promoting pretty hard. It is definitely a game that does show how you can push the engine pretty hard. In terms of visuals, it does look like a really gorgeous game. This by the same developers that made GTFO. That was also another really awesome game, awesome co-op game. So for this one, we can see over here, got a pretty nice bump, some from about 16 to 18. So it got about 20,000 wishlists for a total of 180,000. That's a really nice amount. This is a AAA indie game, so something with a budget in the low millions, I'm guessing, so really nice result. And Slay the Spire 2, another top tier indie game. This one was also announced quite a while ago, and right now it went from 46.7 to about 48.3, so about 15,000 brand new wishlists. Brings it to a total of almost 500,000, that's a huge amount. So another really great result for a really nice indie game. So yep, even games that were already announced, they still got a very nice boost by being on the Game Awards. Here is the total amount for all the games that I managed to find, so quite a lot of them got very good results. And even on the low end, you still get about 9,000 wishlists just for being on the Game Awards. So if you do get that phone call from Geoff Keighley, if so, then go ahead and say yes right away. Also, if you want to stay up to date with what's going on in the industry, check out my Game Dev Report newsletter. This is a free newsletter where I cover the latest game dev news and any interesting articles that I come across. Things like a really awesome free VFX Unity ebook. I also wrote about how a janky game made $28 million, or how much money do Steam developers actually keep. And I also write about some fun topics, like this trend where developers were posting their before and after, showing a really impressive result. So if you want to stay up to date, sign up for free with a link in the description. Alright, I hope you found these stats interesting, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.